programme to bring you a public information broadcast by RWB Vintage. Thank you. Belgium, near the town of Francorchamps, is Spa-Francorchamps, home of the Spa 24 and 12-hour motor races that have been going on since, well, day 8 of God's creation. This 4.3-mile or 7-kilometre motor racing venue can be full of surprises, and today we've got a very exciting race for you. Approximately 50 chaps in their finely tuned motoring machines will be racing their hearts and souls out around this undulating and unforgiving, very fast motor racing circuit. At some stages, they will reach an excess of 160 miles an hour, which, incidentally, is significantly faster than our current methodology has been explored for manned flight. Go get him, Sparrow. There he goes. Oh dear. Oh dearie dear. This is RWB's first race at this legendary circuit in this Competizione format. There will be a rolling start, as we can see here, manually made and led by the pole sitter, who will lead these brave souls around the Spa. These chaps will use this time to warm their tyres by rapid acceleration and deacceleration. Oh look, there's Timmy. Good luck, Timmy. They'll be using this time to use their brakes harshly, speeding up and slowing down to warm those brakes up too. This is effective in the Competizione format, and one should utilise this method only. Weaving is for wallies. Are you a wally weaver? Are you a wally weaver? So we shouldn't see any weaving around, that's fallacy. It's just excited drivers keeping busy warming up tyres as much as my ability to warm up my wife on Tuesday night. 0. Well, could you? I mean, really? No, exactly. Please don't judge me. Once the chaps have made a complete circuit, they'll then be under the pole sitter's premise for start. And here they come now. Once the pole sitter crosses the line, and at a time of his choosing, they'll be off. There's Timmy. Good luck, Timmy. Thumbs up. Now, on the first lap, the chaps have been told, when going up Eau Rouge and Radion, to stay in lane, as is an example here from a previous race. Let's follow the chaps around for a quick lap. Now, they're on the straight here. This is known as the Camel Straight. Very fast, through the trees. Out into a slight open, about 158 to 161 miles an hour along here. And at the end of the Camel Straight is another flashpoint. This flashpoint is an extended chicane known as Lecum. 90 right followed by 90 left. All drivers are staying in their lane, particularly if they're alongside each other when going through Lecum. Into Malmedy, and 90 right and down the hill into Bruxelles. Bruxelles is a parabolica, which is a corner of equal radius. A short 150 metre dash, and then into a left-hander to go down the hill past the grandstand into the double gauche. The double gauche is a double left for those of you who can't speak French. Here's the first corner, 1 left and 2 left. Down the hill further into Le Fang. Le Fang is a bit like a Lecum, an extended chicane, a right and then a left, into a 90 right, as we can see in front of us, known as Campus. An extended 90 right here, known as Stavelot, and now we've got a very, 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 very fast part of the track. Cars will be reaching an excess of 150 miles an hour along here, into an infamous corner taken flat out by those of only of the strongest constitution. Here, Blanchimont. Into a very tight bus stop chicane, an overextended right-hander, into a left-hander and along a straight. At the end of this straight is a hairpin. The hairpin is known as La Source, and La Source will take these fine fellows back onto the main straight where they started. Wonderful. Where on earth is Timmy? A full course yellow is in play that could be called upon by the Chief Race Director. In the event that it's done so, everyone will slow down to 66 miles an hour, and this allows those people who are caught up in a crash to get back to the pits, repair, and then rejoin the race. Now, these chapsters from RWB and various guests are amongst the finest races out there, of that there is no doubt, but they've been told very firmly to keep their traps firmly shut in the race communications channel, which is clearly on amplitude modulation radio transmission sets using vacuum tubes at a frequency of 75 Hz. Thank you. End of transmission.
Hello, good evening and welcome. After that little introduction from RWB Vintage, welcome to this race 1 of a 5-race league with RWB, the first time showcasing Assetto Corsa Competizione. We've got a great race for you tonight. We've got, crikey, now I'm just looking now, we're looking at 49 runners out there this evening, so 50, a field of 50. We've pulled out all the stops, we've brought in all of the A games, whether that's a server, and that's its own data center in its own right. But we've got everything. We've pulled out the stops, A game everywhere, and that includes not me, but that certainly includes the commentary team. And with me, I've got Hax. How you doing, Hax?
I'm alright, Tiger. Pleasure to be in the commentary box with you tonight for this.
Yeah, and they've even tidied it up. Look, it's all tidy and everything. New sim. And they've even tidied up the commentary box. I am actually looking behind me, imagining that I am in a commentary box. That is tidy. Listen, ACC, we've been doing a lot of trialing and testing with this, haven't we?
Yeah. So I think the guys, the honchos and the club have been racing ACC for about a month and a half, pretty seriously now. It's been the sort of secondary weekend event, running on a Sunday rather than the main event on a Saturday. But tonight is the first sort of all-out Saturday league, big league event tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And much more to come, of course. This is only round one of 5 races. This league has been arranged by RWB Gabsy. Thanks, Gabsy. Done a lot of work putting this together. And purely because it's the first of us showcasing ACC with RWB, the members and our guests, the admins, Rigel and Audi and FX and Charger, and of course Audi have all been very much involved in the sort of background organisation of this, and lots of concerns with regards to the etiquette, first round etiquette and so forth. We've opened the doors up to the community, but we have quite fairly sort of, not strict, I'm going to say strict, but fair racing rules in line with our racing etiquette: racing clean, race fair and race for position. Of course, when you open the doors, some lone wolves or some other people from the other clubs may not think like that. So we've spent a fair bit of time, haven't we, Hacks, over the past month, I suppose, pretty much every night, doing lots of training, lots of familiarisation and getting to know the other drivers, and for them to get to know us. And I'm really hoping that the first lap is going to be a good lap. Now, they're into qualifying at the minute. They've got 20 minutes of qualifying, and it's going to be a manual rolling start for this, a manual rolling start. And then once they cross the start line, bang, they're away. Now, they've been told, just as RWB Vintage told you RWB Vintage told you in the video, they've been told in that first lap, parallel into Eau Rouge and Radion and parallel into Lecumbe. Outside of that, racing rules apply. Full course yellow can be called, just in case there is a pile-up, and in the event that that is called, then we will know here in the commentary box. Exciting time for RWB of late, Hacks. We've got lots of events coming up. Do you want to talk a little bit about them?
So yeah, we've got an announcement. Is it coming tonight or tomorrow about Dirt Rally 2 League starting very soon, or Dirt Rally 2 Series? We've also got a new Sunday series of events starting tomorrow evening as well in Race Room. So lots of stuff to be excited about. and of course all the usual, the Tuesday racing, the Wednesday early birds, and we've also got Thursday mini leagues as well, all going on at the same time. I think the only day where we don't have any racing going on right now is Mondays.
Yeah, that's right. Mondays is breathing day. There's pretty much racing going on every night. But as Hack says, we've got we're going to make an announcement tomorrow about a dirt rally league. I know lots of RWB members want to jump in and have a bit of a rally league. So thanks to Mistex and Fearless 420 for putting that league together, and more announcement on that. And as Hack said about Sunday and about Wednesdays, obviously our mini league on Thursday. So there's lots to do. Never a better time, in my view, to be part of a great community, which is RWB. So don't be sitting out there on your Todd. Don't race alone, race RWB. Now, before we carry on and talk more about Spa, I'm going to put my hand up. I do get a little bit excited sometimes. I'll try not to drop the swear words. But, if you are 10 years old and you're watching this and I say a bad word, please don't send the police round. This is RWB, not BBC or Channel 3 or ITV or anything else. So I'll try not to ruin the stream with swear words, but I can't help it, I'm afraid. If I get too excited, I just can't. A little bit of wee comes out, Hacks, and then before you know it, I end up swearing. I can't do anything about it.
Well,
I just can't.
We've tidied up the commentary box. Let's tidy up our potty mouths for tonight.
Potty mouth. It would be nice, yeah. Okay, right, Spa. Now, what do you know about Spa, Hacks?
Not a huge amount. What I do know is that it's the people's favourite, right? It's GT3 cars around Spa. If your sim ain't got GT3 cars and Spa, then is it really a sim?
Yeah, good point. And actually, even if sim racing isn't for you, but you've just picked it up, and had a little bash in it, it's fair to say that it's been a GT3 car around Spa. Francorchamps, near the town of Francorchamps. If you're a southerner that lives in the Midlands like me, that's how you say Francorchamps. GP circuit this is, 4.3 miles, 7 kilometres, 20 bends, 10 right, 10 left, 3 chicanes. 2 of those are extended. The first one, as we're watching these guys come along the Kemmel Straight, is at the end, which is Le Coum. The second one, extended chicane, is down at Le Fan. Of course, you've got the bus stop chicane, which is the very tight chicane just before the main straight. We've got a parabolica down at Bruxelles, where we're watching these guys come into now. And we've got one hairpin at La Source. 2 start-finish straights, and of course the infamous Eau Rouge. Now, a lot of people call the hill at the end of the straight Eau Rouge. It's not. Eau Rouge is at the bottom, Radion is at the top, essentially. But the whole section is referred to endearingly as Eau Rouge. Infamous circuit this, much loved by racing drivers and spectators around the world, not just in real life, but of course in the sim racing world as well, as you heard Hacks mentioned earlier on. Pretty much we've all jumped in a GT3 car and done Spa. Done it. Fast flowing track, and one of the, I'm not going to say last, because there's plenty of good tracks out there, but it's one of those tracks that really does lend itself for you learning how to sim race, essentially, because it is about speed around here. Now, talking of speed, our very own speed demon has just put in a 2:19.122. You can see that up there, and we'll go back to those in the latter half of qualifying and see how everything has been, how everything lays. Let's see how other people are doing. Let's pop this onto Rick Binnersley. Rick Binnersley out there tonight in the Aston, I believe. So he's zipping around there, up through Eau Rouge. That's through Radion. So Spa, built after World War I in 1921. A couple of years later, it became the motorcycle racing mecca and has put on endurance races pretty much since a couple of years after that, right up till now. Of course, very famous for the Spa 24 hours, Spa 12, Spa 6. They've even got CV2 Spa 25 hours that is around here. There's a rallycross track smack bang in the middle of the circuit. If it's racing, it's done here. It's as simple as that. Now, the last thing about the track before we carry on, it would be remiss of us to mention, of course, the incidents that happen around here. Now, it's a long track, it's got a long history, and it covers many classes of racing and motorsport. So, in real life, there have been many people that have been killed around Spa-Francorchamps, not just from the early 40s all the way up to last year, where sadly Anton Hubert died in 2019, just at the top of Radion, when Giuliano Alessi lost control of his car just as he climbed up Radion there, and actually had a puncture, lost control, and there was bits of car that went everywhere. And sadly, Anton Hubert's car hit the tyres. Now afterwards, Andy Green, who's racing boss of Racing Point, divulged that Anton actually hit that tyre wall 167 miles an hour at 70 Gs, and it wouldn't have mattered what car he was in, he just would not have survived it. So we have done a memorial race for Antoine Hubert last year, but it would be remiss of us not to put our thoughts and prayers with his family even now. So this is for Antoine Hubert. Likewise, of course, we're in a very difficult time out there with COVID-19 and pretty much every country being locked down. Great to see real racing drivers engaging with the sim racing world and coming racing with us, and not doing as well as they thought they would, I have to say. So to them as well, thanks very much for providing us the entertainment you do when you're not locked down. Thanks very much for engaging with us now. But to the crux, this is our league, race 1, Spa-Francorchamps. We've got 10 minutes left of qualifying, and then the race is 1 hour long. Now, the race time will be at 6 p.m. So I'm not sure whether we'll start to see some light changes. I think we will. Currently, Jake Moore, as you can see, if I just click onto Jake Moore there, you should be able to see there, unbelievably just putting a 2:18.7. I mean, that is significant time, isn't it, Hax?
That's the fastest we've seen all night, mate. So we saw him putting an 18.9 in practice, and we were sort of flabbergasted by that sort of pace. But now, yeah, obviously he's managed to knock off another 2/10. So yeah, the guys pre-race warm up, the guys were saying, a good lap around here was, a 2:22, a 2:21. Plenty of guys out there putting in that kind of pace, but obviously the indomitable speed demon Jake Moore, our resident RWB alien, absolutely smashing that out the park right now with a 2:18.759.
Yeah, and even if you just look at the board on the broadcasting board there, you can see the top 20. Right down to 20th position is 1.6 seconds slower than speed, which means that 20th position is pushing out a 2:20.397. Now the above average around here is a 2:21, 2:22. If you're under a 2:21 around here, you know this track exceptionally well, and you know the car exceptionally well. Mr. Average, or even just above average, will get 2:22, 2:21. Anything below that is, as I said, with those variables, and that is the reason why. So, but 2:18, that's in a different league. He's not alone out there. Sean Bennett, who's currently in the pits in the Aston, he's put out a 2:19.059. Helmet from RWB has put out a 2:19.1. Nate Newcomer has put out a 2:19.2. Kevin Cox with a 2:19.254. Oliver Curtin with a 2:19.353. Welcome to Sean, Nate, Kevin and Oliver. Carlos Balanos is out there with a 2:19.392. Our own Rodders has put out a 2:19.548, and we're just seeing him there. I think he's just sitting in the pits.
One to watch.
Macro Morris 2:19.569. Sorry, Hax.
No, I was just going to say one to watch, Rodders. So yeah, he's usually not quite on the pace with the top boys in quali, but he's super consistent during the race. So I think he's in a really good position for a podium tonight, Rodders.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Jonas Bergqvist has put a 2:19.8. and Jody Barraclough, hello to Jody and Jonas and Marco. They've put in a 219.9, and Jammer 219.983. Andy San, again, hello to him, a 220.022. So, 13 people have put in between a 218 and a 220. I've never done a 220 in my life. I've been sim racing for years, and seriously for about 3. So this is not a bunch of amateurs out there with regards to in the sim racing world. Anyway, some of these guys are supremely quick. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this pans out. Now, later on down in the back of the field, and let's go pay some of them attention. We've got Khalid Kurata there down in 50th place, who hasn't qualified yet. RWB Napone in his ever favourite pink livery. I'm not even sure what car that is. That's a McLaren, isn't it? Yep. He hasn't put a time in yet. Toadstool, who again can be very fast, he hasn't put a time in yet, so we're watching him closely. Robert DeVries, he's put in a 224.9. Now Robert is in the Porsche, the Lamborghini. Lamborghini is very much a Marmite car around here. People either really like the Lamborghini, don't they, or really hate it. They say it turns on a sixpence right in the middle of the car.
Well, it would be the obvious choice. It's the car that won the 2019 Blank Barn GT World Championship, so you would expect it to be the best car out on track.
Yeah. I think you've got to bring a AA game to be very, very good in the Lamborghini out here. I think the physics on it are so well done that for sim races it's questionable. Well, how many of you have driven a Lamborghini? The answer is very few, if any. But there we go. Daniel Calvo out there in 47th. He's just put in a 224. James Downs a 223. A TT Race World. Shout out to TT Race World. Good to see them out there in my favourite car. Clearly the Audi. I'm just not talented enough, I'm afraid, to race the Audi around Spa. The R8. Our own Cos out there, who really should be called RWB Rhino, because he just keeps going, doesn't he? He just keeps going.
Keep going.
Keep going, must keep going.
He's like a steam engine. He drives like a steam engine. Straight, slow to get going, but takes a long time to slow down. And is as old as one as well.
Absolutely he is, yeah. Lovely guy. Our new member mentor. If you're a new member at RWB, you're not sure what it's all about, make sure you send him a message. And if you want to join RWB, zip along to rwbracing.club. Come along to Discord and poke that man there, RWB Cos, and he'll help you. Gareth Rowlands, my rally buddy, he's out there tonight in the Honda NSX. He's just put in a 222. Now Gabs is no slouch in anything with 4 wheels, and certainly in the rally and in the racing. And he does a 222.7. Within half a second, that is a fast pace. A 222.5 is a fast pace. Good to see him out there. Ball out there in 42nd with a 222.6. He's in the pits currently. Medster, who very nearly didn't run tonight purely because he didn't confirm and comply with the instructions, but good to see him out there in the BM, and he's on a 222.45. Tom Proctor, Tom is out there in the McLaren. He's just done a 222.368. Mad Owl 222.275 in a what is that? What car is that? That's the Aston, isn't it? Of course it is.
Yep, yeah, Aston Martin.
Flack, our very own graphics guru, is out there 222.173. Charger has already said shit in a brick. Shout out to Charger. No need to shit a brick. Just get out there and enjoy it. As I know you will.
We broke the first rule of Race Club, of Commentary Race Club.
Oh.
Potty mouth detected. Put your pound in the jar.
Oh dear. Never mind. Let's crack on. Napone out there. I think we saw him before. Dan Anderson. Who incidentally, I was just mulling around there the other night and had Dan Anderson. He stuck to me like glue. He's just done a 221.5. Well done to you. Dave Crew out there, the 221.330. Coming up to a minute and a half left of qualifying. Justin Madley out there, 221. 221.168, currently 34th. FX 221.090. I know you'd be very, very happy with that. Xavier Eugenie 221.072. Greed to me 220.907. 31st place Audi 220.886. Beer at 30th 220.865. Madley with a 220.790. Pepe Garcia out there with a 220.778. John Hall 220.610. John Chapman Chappie 220.511. Francisco Jose Diaz out there with 220.454 in the Ferrari. Well done to you. Steve Dent, our very own Pinners, he's out there with a 220.400. Well done to you, Pinners. Looking for good things. Scott Free, our Irish buddy, 220.397 in the BM. Loves his BM. Rigel, the chief race director tonight, 220.367. And we'll leave it at that, and what we'll do is we'll scroll up to the top, because what is going to happen now is there will be a short transition before, I think it's about 3 minutes before they go into the main race. Hacks, previously a race briefing was done by the chief race director, in this case Rigel. I think we're just about to transition. Yeah, we've got 3 minutes there. Do you want to mention something about that brief, what's been said?
Yeah, certainly do. Before I do that, though, I just want to give a quick shout out to the guys in stream. So we've got Rikus, we've got RWB Taz, we've got Tim Aggie, we've got Racing Sim Tools, and then somebody from Race World as well. All come along to watch the stream. Just want to give a big shout out to those guys. Thanks for coming along, and keep the comments coming, and we'll try and interact when we can. But yeah, as Tiger has said, there is a race brief tonight. So we've got 2.5 minutes now where Rigel will be giving the guys a rundown in the pits, just to give them a bit of a stern talking to about race standards. So there's a couple of things they need to be aware of tonight. So first of all is we're going to have a short manual rolling start, which means that the guys are going to be in charge for holding their position, for holding their speed, and obviously will be penaltied or penalised if they don't comply. A couple of rules as well about hang on a minute. A couple of rules about the first lap. So the guys have got to be incredibly careful around on the first lap. First lap T1 incidents and are heavily frowned upon in RWB. Races aren't won in the first turn. They aren't won in the first lap either. So everybody's going to be encouraged to take it easy and take their time. And they're also going to be warned about the full course yellow situation. So Rigel, as race director, has the power to call a full race yellow if deemed necessary, and they'll be told about what that actually means. And finally, obviously, radio silence is expected unless, of course, there is a necessary requirement for it. And that's about it. Hello?
Yep, sorry about that. I was just seeing something posted on YouTube there about Downs and Proctor. Okay, so where we go? Tom Proctor's qualified in 41st with a 222.368, and James Downs has qualified with a 223.679. To be clear, those are not slow times. They're just in a very, very quick field. Talking of which, quite rightly, talking of quick fields, 218.759, 218.765 by Sean Bennett, and Kevin Cox there, also with a 218. So there they are there on the main straight. They've got 1.5 minutes now for a final sort of check of their setups, etc. And what we're going to do, certainly for this first lap, is we're going to jump in the blimp cam, and we're going to have some wide shots there, and I shall probably focus on probably the 15th or 20th car in order to see as much as we possibly can. Let's see whether we can do that now for you. Yep, there we go. Let's see, so we can still grab the first, and hopefully that will zoom out as we go, as we start. 1 minute 16, 1 minute 15, 14 left. Lots of real time and investment put in by all of these sim racers out there, including myself, who opted to launch this league with hacks. But hopefully I'll be in the next one. Wow, some of these guys are genuinely absolutely crapping themselves, aren't they? Now, to remind, we've got the first lap, which is a manual start rolling lap, and as we heard old Vintage say at the beginning there's no point weaving around. Weaving is for wallies. Some top tips for you when it comes to sims and tyre warming, etc. Unlike Race Room, which is a great sim, and we love Race Room, we champion that here. You start a race with warm tyres and warm brakes. That's not the case with ACC, and it measures it very, very well. So, short bursts. How do real racing drivers, keep get their tyres up to temperature? Well, they do short bursts. They do rapid acceleration, rapid braking, yes, they weave left and right, but that is to maintain the heat, not to gain heat. More often than not, actually, it's negligible. So there's your top tip. We're away. So we're on. That's not a bad view at all. Actually, we're on Jake there in first place. Behind him, you can see Kevin Cox, Jake, Sean Bennett in the Aston. And they're all, as I said, this first lap here, they're going to be going around manual start. And what a grid this will look coming down that main straight, going up to or going down to Eau Rouge.
I mean, I've sat in the commentary box and I've already got butterflies. These guys are going to be very hyped up on adrenaline.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is it's a manual start, guys. I've already seen Scott Free there. I think it was Scott Free, yeah. Scott Free take a couple of places there. Let's all calm down. The race is not on yet. This is a manual start. We see lots of cars chopping and changing and swapping places, etc. Of course, you've really just got to stay in your place, stay in your lane. If you do it and everyone else does it, then there's no problems, no dramas. Coming through Lacombe here, certainly on the first lap, and Eau Rouge and Radion, the guys have been told very, very bluntly, that is, if you're parallel, you stay in your lane. We don't want any large crashes. There is a full course yellow that can be called at any time. And of course, the great thing about a full course yellow means that is that there is strategic advantage for that, for damaged cars. But of course, the downside is that any delta that's been made up by the front runners just disappears, doesn't it?
Sorry, say that again, Ty. I was reading the briefing then.
Yeah, any delta created by the front runners, before a full course yellow is called, will automatically disappear as they bunch up. So, a full course yellow is not going to get called unless there is something significant, a significant pile up. Otherwise, one is not going to be called. In cockpit with Beer currently in 26th place, and Beer should be behind Chapman. Beer is out there in the Ferrari. Sure, he's changed at the last minute. I think he's changed a lot of cars. Now, ghosting is not on in this sim for manual start, so if you bump into someone, you're going to cause some damage. So as we see Beer there take evasive action. So there is a lot of trust involved with all of them out here now during this this opening lap, this manual start. Let's see where the front runners are at the minute. So they're now coming on to essentially the Corbera Paul Frere, which is the long sweeper, which kinks to the right and then into the left through Blanchimont. I think they've just gone through now. This is Blanchimont here.
Yeah, coming up to the bus stop, I think next corner. So we're about 30 to 40, maybe a minute away from a race start now. So yeah, tension building. Yeah,
absolutely.
It does look as though somebody ran off and up the front. I'm not sure if somebody's picked up damage accidentally during the formation lap and has had to go off and get some repairs.
Looks like Tom Proctor is in the pit, so yeah, very likely. Tom Proctor has just gone into the pits. So as they come along the back straight now, which again is used for starts for lots of different types of races, as does the other one, depending on the length from the car class.
Yeah, they want to be bunching up now into 2 lanes, getting ready for race start. Final turn coming up.
Okay, good discipline out there from them all at the minute. Going back to 15th place now. We can see they're in tandem now, coming around through La Source.
That's it. Looks like we're getting started.
Jake Moore then in first place on the right-hand side there in the Honda NSX, with Sean Bennett and the Aston on his immediate left-hand side. And they're away. They're off. And Jake goes through Eau Rouge, up into Radion, and extends away along the Kemmel Straight. Let's see how the others are going. Looking at Chapman now, coming up through Eau Rouge into Radion. Behind them, Beer and Demir, side by side. Good discipline from them.
Nice and clean so far.
Nice and clean so far, and that's what we'd expect, to be honest with you. These guys have been almost drilled to a certain extent. It certainly hasn't been taken away from them their competitive spirit, but there is a strike system in place, which is fairly unusual for RWB. RWB is not lax when it comes to racing and racing rules. Far from it. Absolutely not. We race clean, fair, and for position, and if you compromise that, then the admins will end up speaking to you, and if necessary, removing you from a league. But this was unprecedented for us. It's a new sim. We've put some time into it. We've put some investment into it. And we've opened the doors to the community in general, and as a result of that, it's important that we're all singing off the same song sheet. So there is a strike system in place, particularly for the first couple of laps. You could very easily score 3 strikes, and that would be you removed from the next race minimum. So, but so far so good. Let's not look at the bad side of things, but it's important, there are those measures in place should we need them. If anyone was going to be doing any demolition derbies out there, that's not removing their competitive spirit. That's just saying, calm down. We don't want any first corner errors or even first lap errors. Jake Moore steaming away in first place there, with Sean Bennett behind him in second place. Behind him, Helmet in the GTR. And right up behind him, as we would expect, Rodders in the Lexus. Rodders have been playing with the Jag for a little while, the Jag. He done extensive testing in his own time with the Jag, and found out that actually there were some tracks that really lent itself to the Jag, where it performed well, above average, or it was either very below average. And so as a result of that, he removed himself from it, sold it to the next door neighbour, jumped into the Lexus, a very quick, above average car that you are guaranteed to be safe in, and that's got some oomph. And in the hands of Rodders, that means a great deal. Would you not agree, Hax?
Yeah, absolutely. I know he was very excited to be driving the Jag. The last thing I read, he said he was looking forward to getting to know it a bit more. But clearly, that's not panned out the way he has. And I think switching cars is always a risky business. Rodders would be one of the first people to say that don't consider racing, switching cars a week before the race, because you should be learning how to drive it. But clearly, he's had to sort of go against his own advice. And choosing the Lexus, I think, was a great, it's a great decision. It's again, one of the people's favourites with this sim. Lots of people in the Sunday racing events that we've had at RWB have been doing really well in the Lexus and in the Aston Martin as well. So yeah, I think he's picked a good car there.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Aston. And especially, I think ACC is fantastic, especially with the livery editor and so on. Love the Aston. And if we're really honest with you, the only reason why I didn't jump in the Lexus is because I couldn't make it mine. I couldn't change the colours. I think that's a licensing issue. Stupid decision, really. But it's a great car, and as you say, all the right things there about in the hands of Rodders. Kevin Cox out there in 5th place. Carlos Balanos out there in 6th place. Sorry. Oliver Curtin in 7th, being challenged by Jordan on the outside into where are they? They're going through Bruxelles now. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're into Corbin Paul Frere, coming up to Blanchimont, but Jordan had him on the inside there. Almost taken away from a kitten. I was going to say, but his name's Curtin.
Yeah, it did look as though he was pushing a bit wide there, wasn't he? Potentially.
Yeah, he did.
Losing
But,
a bit of
good
traction
racing
on the
from them
paint.
too. Yeah, good racing though. Good racing. A challenge from Curtin possibly into the bus stop, but Jordan has got the inside. You're going to have to bring a double A game to get past him round there, but I think he probably does on the legs on the Bentley, and he's got the inside now coming into La Source. Yeah, look at that. I mean, the Aston was almost standing still. Jordan being challenged there on the inside by Jammer in the GTR. Jammer got Mons behind him, Sam behind him, Winch. Watch out for him, Ryan Winch in the Audi R8. Exceptional talent there of Ryan Winch. Up through Eau Rouge, Curtin, up he goes. Through Radion. And we can see there, followed closely by Dan Jordan and Jammer in the yellow GTR.
Pushed a little wide there coming through Eau Rouge, but looks as though he's got away with it. It looks like he's managed to extend a small gap from Jordan there, and Jordan now having to fight off that pack behind him. Jammer, no slouch in the GTR. Looks as though Jammer's
just went off
on
there,
the
I think,
there,
now
yeah.
being challenged by Moyes. But yeah, as you say, Jammer there going through Malmedy, now down to Bruxelles, looking like he's going to take a little look at San. I think we'll stay with these two for a little while. Exiting Bruxelles now, down the hill towards the left-hander, and then extending down towards the double left. Again, Jammer goes a bit wide there. Rules are on. If you go wide 3 times, then the race director will simply give you a stop and go. It's really not worth pushing it, strategically. You've got 2 times that you can do that on a lap, pretty much, before you're going to get your knuckles wrapped. But I think there's an algorithm in the back there that says whether you're a limits pusher or not. Good luck to him. Going through the field then, Ryan Winch, one of our newer members. Ryan, very quick out there in the Audi R8. Good to see him out there. Rick Binnersley in 13th. Rick will be very pleased with that. But Rick is above average and a sort of above middle sort of runner in R3E. But as we've seen with a lot of middle runners in ACC, they're not middle runners anymore, Hacks, are they?
No, they're not. They're all sort of in the top quadrant, to quote a famous RWB commentator. Yeah, Rick Binnersley's come on leaps and bounds, I think, in terms of his sort of his raceability and his racecraft as well. I mean, he's always been a steadfast racer with RWB, but yeah, more and more now we're seeing him sort of up there at the front with the top guys.
Holding the inside line into La Source with Isaacs, RWB Isaacs on the outside there in the Porsche. But I think the sheer power and the acceleration of that Porsche will get him going down the straight, which he has done into Eau Rouge. But Rick Binnersley now down into 14th place. Good to see him there, being followed up by Barraclough in the orange AMG. That is a hell of an experience. I can't possibly imagine what that would be, what that would feel like in one of these cars, or an F1 car flat out in real life. That must be incredible.
It's one of those sort of badge of honours that real racing drivers sort of tout and brag about. Have you gone through Eau Rouge with your foot flat to the floor? And it's one of those things that you can wear on your belt proudly if you've managed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Rigel looking at Barraclough, or a little bit of a tap there coming through Bruxelles, but on the inside certainly got the line, and now into the left-hander. So Rigel now up into 16th place, and now looking at munching a bit of Binnersley. But going back to what we said earlier on about middle runners are no longer middle runners anymore. Why is that? Well, the variation between these GT3 cars in ACC is minimal, to be frank, and the balance of performance algorithms that's been very cleverly put together by Kunos stack up. So these middle runners are now mixing it with the top runners. Unless you get someone who's exceptionally talented, you are able to hang on to the back of people like Rigel. I've done it myself, and I've hanged on to the back of Rodders. That would never have happened in R3E in race room, and now all of a sudden in this sim you know, the middle runners are now challenging the top runners, and I think that's a good thing for RWB and for the sim racing community in general. Scott Free then out in the BMW there, because Scott is currently running in 17th. I believe Scott races for real a BMW. I'm not sure if he's in the which league he's in, but Scott is one of our newer members out there. Good to see him out there in 17th place. Last lap there was a 2:22.038. Pinner's out there in 18th place. Pinner's in the Aston, lovely colours. Chapman out there again in the Aston Martin. His last lap was a 2:22.488. Dan Jordan just being challenged by Andy San. Andy San looking at the inside, coming into Lacombe. I don't think, yeah, he's got that. And Jordan hopefully have got the inside here. But Andy San, you know, if he's got, you know, I was just about to say if he could just extend in front of Jordan's nose, but it didn't happen, did it? Had he done, it would have been all right.
He grabbed a bit of the grass there, and I think he lost some traction. Ended up losing drive out of Lacombe's into Malmedy, and Jordan managed to get that position back.
Yeah. Crikey. Okay, right, let's have a look at these guys up here. 0.3 of a second. Bennett now is now into third place. Sean Bennett. Let's jump in cockpit with Sean Bennett. Sean is now looking at Helmet. Now, Sean was in second place, so clearly we missed Helmet taking Sean. We're going to miss a lot of that, I'm afraid, purely by virtue of the fact there's 50 cars out there. We can't grab it all, and this is why, you know, in real life, they stick with the front runners, and if something happens, then they go back. We have got the ability to replay anything up to a couple of minutes, and if we need to use that for a crash, we will. But I've got a funny feeling that, you know, we may not need that tonight, Hax. That would be nice, wouldn't it? What has Helmet got in that car, Hax? A jet? He's just disappeared.
I'm not sure if Sean was lifting there. It sounded like he might have lifted a little bit. Perhaps he got a penalty, a slowdown penalty or something. It looked as though Sean was letting Helmet go there. Although Helmet, you know, like we said earlier, has got he's got the legs in that GTR. The GTR is, you know, fast in a straight line. It's got long legs. Suits that long back straight that we've just seen him pull away on. So there could be something in that. It could be that Sean was perhaps, you know, holding back a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. I believe someone's just posted it in YouTube there. Where is Bull? If that's RWB Bull, he's currently in 38th place. We'll have a look at him in a minute. Anyone else you want us to have a look at, just pop that in YouTube and then we'll zip along and give you a quick chat on them. But we're sticking with with Helmet right now. Just that little dot in the distance there, that is Jake Moore, RWB Speed Demon. Can you beat the Speed Demon? There's a challenge for you. If you think you can, get onto the league, come along, race with us, see how you do. There's plenty in this race who thought they could, and now where are they? Okay, so now we've got Mad Al has gone into the pits. Now, why has he gone into the pits? There is a pit stop that's required for this. There is a pit stop that is required. They've got to change all 4 tyres. The race is only an hour, so there's no need to change brakes or refuel. I don't think... How long are we into the race at the minute? We're only 15 minutes in. Pits, I'm not sure if there is a pit window or whether they can pit whenever they like, Hax.
I'm not sure either, mate, but I would assume, I mean, regardless of whether there's a window or not, there will be, you know, tactical benefits to pitting. So at some point during the middle, you know, you don't want to pit super early because then you end up on one set of tyres all the way to the end, and you don't want to pit super late because you'll be on one set of tyres, the first set of tyres all the way to the end. So, you know, some point in the middle is when you'll expect to see the guys coming in.
Yeah.
And also,
we're looking at...
I was just about to say, yeah, they take a long time to fuel up as well, these cars, so that there are, you know, refueling in these cars can take quite a considerable amount of time. With it being only an hour's race, I imagine the guys are running, you know, full tanks out there tonight, so it'll just be a quick tyre change and potentially fix some damage if that's what you've got. That might be the case with Al, for example, and then get back out on track.
Yeah. Now, a lot of chat in YouTube about the races. How do you get on them? I got on and now I'm not on it. Look, here's the thing. It's open to everybody. You're all very welcome to come race with us. But we do ask that you come along and that you read what is posted in the league info. All you've got to do is sign up via Race App, read the instructions, confirm that you're going to race with us, and that's your spot secured. Simple as that. If in doubt, come on to RWB Discord and poke anyone with an RWB tag, and they will always point you in the right direction. We're a genuinely friendly bunch, end of story. So if you want to come race with us, don't sit there with a sad face wanting to do it, but haven't stepped up to the mark. Come step up to the mark, come race with us. We're looking at Andy San, who was being chased by Jammer in the yellow GTR. I was kept them on there for a while because they were level peggers between Dan Jordan, Andy San and RWB Jammer. Jammer just put in a 220.529 there to give you some sort of idea. Jake Moore 219.563. He's out there on his own again.
Yeah, he's all alone again, out in his spaceship, just zooming along. Although, you know, he has been known to make mistakes in the past. You know, he's not infallible. He is incredibly fast and incredibly consistent, and he knows his way. You know, he knows race cars like the back of his hand. You know, I spoke to him, you know, and said, you know, why are you so fast, Speed? What is it that you do that I don't do, and what can I do to get it? And you know, his answer was basically, I've been doing this sort of game, you know, playing racing games, sim games, for the last 20 years. So, you know, he's been at it for 20. You've been at it for 3 years. I've been at it for 5. He's been at it for nearly 20. So, yeah. You know, that's what he's got that we haven't, as well as being incredibly talented as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he does make mistakes. So there's a good chance. You know, he's not pulled away just yet. You know, something bad could happen, and we could see Helmut get back into this race. Also,
absolutely.
There's also the question of how the tyres progress. Different cars obviously chew the tyres in different ways, so it may be that Speed's car is really fast at the start, but may progress with the tyres to become slower in the later stint, and Helmut might start reeling him in towards the end. So, you know, it's not over yet.
Yeah, let's have a flick through the field now. Jake is out there in first place. He's got a good 6.8 seconds as we see him go through a Rouge and now Radeon. He's got a good 7 seconds essentially free behind Helmut. We'll keep a close eye on those times, but actually mixed between the ACC broadcaster system that we're using and what you're seeing on the screen there. You know, we've got enough information between us both that we can work out when to jump to him. Let's start off from the back rather than from the front. Let's have a look at 50th place. 50th place is Cos. There he is out there, just under 225.842. Remember what I said? The Rhino. He'll just keep going. And, you know, good to see Cos out there. Someone from YouTube, I think it's his mum, wants to see James Downs. So Downs, there he is. He's currently in 49th place. And the reason why he's in 49th is because you couldn't choose a more glaringly ugly car than that. If it's the 488 is a beautiful car. What have you done, James? You've painted it in your mum's lipstick. Jesus Christ. John Hall
What
out
shame.
there. What shame. 48th in the he's currently 48th out in the Audi R8. The Bumblebee, I think, is the name of that livery. So what a lovely view that is. Beautiful car. I'm going to have one of them one day. End of story. Audi is currently in the pits at the minute. Looks like he's had a bit of a scrape there with a dented bonnet and a flashing light and a few scrapes everywhere, etc. He's currently running 47th. He's in the pits at the minute. Gabsy is in the pits at the minute. I hope, certainly not retired. Nobody should be retiring, by the way, anybody. Nobody should be retiring. There's no need to retire. And if anyone retires, they will get seriously slated on here because that is just rage quitting. There's no need to retire. You escape out, you go back to the pits, you serve your penalty, you leave. Gabsy is now pitted. That's his pit done. You can see that by the green square next to his number, 105. So we know that is his pit stop. Great to see that. John Hall out there. who hasn't pitted, who's also pitted. He's down in 46th. Dan Anderson, who is also pitted in the chrome green Porsche. Tom Proctor, again, one of his family watching, I'm sure, one of his buddies watching. Muffin Tom, that's his nickname. But Tom Proctor is out there. He has yet to pit and currently 44th. So by the time he exits in that McLaren, he'll be significantly down the field. Francisco Jose Diaz has also pitted and he's currently running 43rd. He will climb as a result of a few people in front of him who have not yet pitted. So good to see that. Dave Crew, our own Dave, out there in the Lamborghini. Swapped at the last minute, Hacks. Absolutely loves the Aston, and then out of the blue nowhere, he jumps in the Aston. He jumps in the Lamborghini. But I do know that he'd done a lot of testing around Spa, so perhaps he spent a lot of time in the seats of each of them.
Potentially, yeah. And I know that the Lamborghini was one of the first cars added to the sim, so anybody that's spent a considerable amount of time in this sim since release will be familiar with the Lambo. You know, and as said, you know, the Lamborghini is the car that won last year. You know, it won the Blancpain 2019 series, so there's no reason why it should be off the pace. He has pitted, so hence why he's down in 42nd. You know, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 cars in front of him that have actually pitted already. So, you know, we could see Crew actually being up there when everybody's come in. A beautiful livery as well, by the way. I know.
Where'd that come from? Fabio out there in 41st, one of our newer members out in the AMG. Fabio has pitted, so again he will benefit from those who are in front of him who have not. Mad Owl is out there in 40th in the Aston Martin. I absolutely love the look of the Aston Martin, but I've got to tell you, I drove it on a track day and I did not like it at all. Didn't like it in real life. Well, I don't know.
Why is that then? What was that where you sit in it, or
no? It was just too heavy. Too heavy.
Right, yeah.
Scott Free just takes Al there. Not showed on my race director, but clearly it's just happened because we've just seen it. Rodders out there in 38th. Rodders has pitted and Jammer has pitted. Now we get into those who have not yet pitted. Robert De Vries out there in the Lamborghini has not yet pitted, so he's going to have to come in. He's only, he will lose that position by Jammer, no question. Toadstool has not yet pitted, neither has Daniel Calvo, neither has Bull yet pitted. I mean, look at these guys, have not yet pitted. If you see a 1 next to their number, then they've not yet pitted. Napone has not yet pitted out there in 32nd. His last lap was a 2:25.464. So significantly off pace as we're going through these guys. Nate Newcomer out there with a 2:20.811 is best lap, so that's a respectable time, very much so. But he is not yet pitted. John D out there on Norwegian RWB buddy. He's out there, his best lap 2:22.008, not yet pitted. Charger, first time we've seen Charger back in the Lexus. Well, he loves the Lexus. Yeah, he's got plenty of room for his bag and his chair and a few other bits and pieces. But Charger has been really looking forward to this event and absolutely papping himself that it was going to be a first corner nightmare. And actually, we all knew it wasn't going to be, purely by the amount of governance and not pleading, but governance and regulations put in place. Wonderful to see those two, Charger and Nate Newcomer, going around and John D both together. Nate Newcomer, John D in the Honda, Charger in the Lexus, Nate Newcomer behind him in the McLaren. I wonder if I can go for a wider shot here. Let's go
tight coming down here through where are we at? Bruxelles, is it?
Yeah, Bruxelles. So we've got John D at front, Charger behind, Newcomer, and then Toadstool. Coming through the double left now. And they're starting to bunch a little bit. It looks like Nate Newcomer has got more speed, but nowhere to go. Behind there, Toadstool with a front seat view. Nate Newcomer looking like he really wants to challenge Charger, and I think actually Charger, doing quite well there behind John D, and certainly be in a position to challenge John D. The Lexus has got some huge legs on it, especially now we're going down the Cobra Paul Free Frere. But look, Charger being challenged on the inside by Nate Newcomer. And I think already he's parallel with him. Charger will just maintain that position, won't he? Yeah, Charger's got the inside.
But Newcomer's going to have the inside coming into the bus stop if he can stay parallel.
Yeah, Nate Newcomer goes very wide there, pushed very wide, but it's certainly going to stay on the inside, surely. Just comes out into the middle, and a fair place for him to go to. So Charger loses that position to Nate Newcomer. Good racing from the pair of them. Charger now having to deal with... who's that behind him?
Kurata?
Yes, it's... Wait. We've got a mismatch, I think, of information.
Oh no! It's a Ferrari.
Yeah. So here I've got Khalid Kurata, but it can't be. He's in the pits. So perhaps we've got a mismatch here. But Charger there now following Nate Newcomer. Nate Newcomer there, out there in the McLaren, as we just seen that little race there. Pepe Garcia in 24th place. Again, not pitted yet. These guys not pitted yet. The really fast ones have pitted. TTV Race World is out there in 23rd. Best lap 223.298 in the Audi. We can just see him there going through Bruxelles, chasing down Flack in the Aston Martin. Race World's got Pepe Garcia behind him. Really quick car, that R8, but very, very difficult to control, in certain places around Spa. If I had more real life time, I'd really want to throw myself at the R8. I'm an Audi man in real life anyway. It's an RS5. So the V8 one, by the way.
Is it the bi-turbo one?
It's not the V6 bi-turbo with vibration windows FX. So those of you just joined us for the first time, that's an in-house joke. But lovely to see the R8 out there. It's not the V8 anyway, it's the V10 Plus. But beautiful car. Flack, as we just said, out there in the Aston Martin. Great position that Flack will thoroughly enjoy being in that position, holding that. But these guys yet to pit yet, Hack. So really, it's not over until they're green, is it?
Yeah, exactly. The guy, it's the halfway mark now, so this would be the default time to sort of come in for a pit stop. So I'm surprised we're not seeing more folks pulling off into the pits right now. Yeah.
Stop press, quick, we'll come back to 20th and beyond. Keen to capture as much as I can, also looking at racing pace and racing speed. Stop press, helmet, into the pits. Rick Bennesley into the pits right now. Scott Free into the pits. FX UK into the pits. Dan Jordan also in the pits. Flack, as we just seen, in the pits. Nate Newcomer in the pits. And Charger now, as we just see now, coming into the pits. These were the guys that we went through earlier on, who had not yet pitted. We were at 20th. We were talking about, just about to talk about Xavier Eugenie, who's out there in the BMW. Looks like someone there, Sean Wright. I know that was Pepe. It was Pepe Garcia, I believe. No. Sean Wright. No.
I think that there's some lapping going on right now. So.
There is some back markers going on, and our system here doesn't allow us to see that, which is a bit of a shame. But that's a director's, a race director problem, not anything else. Xavier Eugenie out there in the BMW in 16th. Yet to pit though. Sean Wright out there, fastest lap 2:21.084. So crikey, crikey, faster than anything I've ever done, and he's 15th in this race.
And
wow.
not pitted.
Yeah, and not pitted. Medster, who very nearly didn't get a spot tonight. You know why? Because you didn't read the rules. Should have confirmed. But good to see you out there, Medster. 2:22.047. Gris Demir, I think it is. Again, back markers just moving over there. Out there in 13th place, 2:21.864. Jonas Bergqvist, 2:21.189 in some clear air, 2.7 seconds clear. Looks like Mois has got a drive-through there, probably from speeding in the pit. Well, he can't speed in the pits, but he has definitely got a drive-through. So he's serving his drive-through now, isn't he?
Looks that way. Yeah. I mean, he may have just driven into the. He may have just come out of his box. We didn't see him come all the way through. His box might have been further back. we'll see when he gets out of the pits whether he's still got that DT to serve or not. I mean, he hasn't pitted yet, so he's not done his mandatory pit stop, which says to me that was potentially his mandatory pit stop, or he's had a penalty for something else.
I think it was a penalty for something else. It's not coming up as a mandatory pit stop. And look, we've got the top 18 here, and they've not yet pitted, which means that Cox and Curtin are the first two that we can see on the board there. Sorry, with Winch in 9th. But Winch in 9th, just trying to work it out now. He's significantly behind Speed. And Speed is out there in first place at the minute with a 12 seconds. His last lap was this is race pace, and his last lap was a 2:19.563. That's race pace. That's quite crazy. Extraordinary. Really is. Well done, Speed.
So,
amazing.
Was Helmet in second?
Helmet was in second. And where's our helmet? Where's my helmet?
So Helmet has pitted, so it'll be interesting to see where Helmet comes out. Where Jake comes
21st
out.
Place now. 21st place, Hacks. He's got the front 18 there that have not pitted. None of these guys have pitted.
Do we have any idea?
Come up here so you can see. There you go. So look, 11, 12 have not pitted. Ryan Winch is now into the pits. These guys here, look, just coming in, a bunch of 4 of them. You've got Jonas Bergqvist, Greedamy, Sean Wright, RWB Medster and Xavier Eugenie all coming into the pits in a oneer. This pit orgy going on of all 5 of them there. Meanwhile, Speed Demon is out there on his own. Extraordinary. I mean, I keep saying it. There's 50 runners out there. Open the doors to the community. Some super fast people out there. 4-5 seconds than the majority of us, and he's still untouchable. Crikey! Great news for RWB, clearly. But let's not take it away from this guy, Sean Bennett. 13 seconds in second place, coming up to some back markers now. Sean is in second place, and he is chasing down Speed Demon. Andy in third place, RWB Rigel. Rigel has not yet pitted. We saw him earlier on, and he was way down in 18th and then 12th. Hasn't taken him long, has it, Hacks, to come up there?
No. So Rigel running a good old steady race as usual. Not pitted yet. I'm not sure. He's followed up by, is that Isaacs behind him as well?
So Isaacs is in 4th place.
So we've actually got a father-son battle going on here right now. So Rigel in 3rd, Isaacs in 4th, his boy.
Let's take a look at Isaacs. There's Isaacs there. So he's gone past the back marker. Isaacs is now chasing down Rigel.
I think they've just let
if you're over 16, I wouldn't challenge too much, or your rent's going to get put up. That's all I'll say there.
It needs to be careful.
Yeah. Great position for Pinners out there in the Aston. Pinners, not yet pitted, but currently in 5th place. So great position for Pinners. Very happy for you there. John Chappie out there in 6th place. Again, not yet pitted in the Aston, but has got to pit. Pepe Garcia out there in 7th place. Chasing down Audi. Audi being a rear marker. I believe a back marker as Audi moves over. That, ladies and gents, is how you do it, by the way. Don't slow down and slam your anchors on, just get out the way. And fair play to Audi for giving a good example there of us using that on stream. Moiz, earlier on, we mentioned him earlier on, is in the pits. He's come back in the pits. He's served his drive-through penalty. Andy San is saying he's out. That's what it's saying here. It's saying out. Not sure what does that mean? Out of the pit?
Out where? Where's it saying that?
It's saying that on my race director. I'll ignore it for a minute.
So there's nothing about that on the actual sort of on-stream stuff. So
I'm sure he'd be most annoyed if I was to tell him that he's out of the race, because currently he's doing very well in 11th and he's pitted, so he will certainly move up into the top sort of 3rd of the runners at the minute as soon as those guys in front of him pit. Talking of which, let's go a wider view. Talking of which, we are seeing Andy Sand there chased down Oliver Curtin. We were talking about Rigel and the Isaacs race. Rigel's now in the pit, so he's serving his pit, the first of the top 5 that is pitting. Meanwhile, first place, Speed Demon is just gone through Bruxelles and has now gone through the left-hander and extending down towards the double left. Sean Bennett, is now in the pit, so he's the second one of the top 5 to pit. So I think it's a fair assessment that Speed Demon Jake Moore will pit on this lap. What do you think, Hax?
Well, there's only 20 minutes left to go, mate. So we're two-thirds point now. I don't see why he would want to stay out any longer, really, unless he's just incredibly comfortable and knows he's got the pace and is, picking and choosing when he wants to come in. I mean, he's pushing for another lap now, so maybe he's not feeling too pressured and doesn't need to come in and get those fresh boots on.
Yeah. Well, fair play. Holy moly. Let's see what's going on out there now. So Isaacs is just come out of the pits. Now Point Tonight coming through the Kemmel. This is the Kemmel. That kink is called Kemmel. This is called the Kemmel Straight, by the way, for those who didn't know. Good to see good drills from Isaacs there. He stayed on the far right hand side, exiting from the pits. If he had come all the way over to the left, then he could have held that position, but it would have just slowed the others up and it would just made it difficult going into Lecombe, and there wouldn't have been the sort of speed to overtake him and cleanly before Lecombe. So if you are engaging in our races going forward and you end up doing spar with us, you come out the pit straight and you keep to the right hand side or coming out the pits into the Kemmel Straight, certainly through the white line and certainly past it if there are cars on the Kemmel Straight. Good racecraft there, good example. Thank you, Isaacs.
Yeah, brilliant bit of racecraft. He only moved over into the left until just before he got into the braking zone, and he knew the guy behind him was never going to get around him. So yeah, it was a brilliant bit of racecraft that. And he's come out in 15th place as well. So it looks like the rest of the field, apart from potentially Jake Moore, has pitted now, and Isaacs is holding a definitive 15th place. So well done to him. Out of a field of 50, that's no small feat.
No, absolutely not. Well done.
Chip off the old block.
Absolutely, yeah. Chip off the old block. Interestingly enough, of course, now most of these have pitted. Let's have a quick look. We can only see 25 on the leaderboard there. So let's do it in blocks of 5. So there we go. There's 20. The first 20. Everyone's pitted except Jake Moore and this man, John Chapman. Now, there's the time differential there. So Speed Demon just gone through Blanchimont, and Chapman now is just coming through the fast left-hander, the double left. So, I would expect Speed Demon to come into the pits now as he does. Now, it's at this point now whether Chapman thinks that he can get another lap. I think you need about 30 seconds in the pits and about 15 to 20 seconds entry and exit. Well, actually, exit is a long haul around here. What am I talking about? Yeah. It's a long haul. How long, Hax?
I haven't got a clue, mate, but you're looking at well over a minute of pit stop pace, as it were. Right. You're probably looking at about, for a pit, I think putting tyres on these cars is, 20 seconds-ish, because you've only got, one team going around doing all four tyres. And then you've got the extended pit area where you've got to go all the way up through Eau Rouge at 80 kilometers per hour. So, it's going to add on a significant amount of time to anybody's lap. And just fresh off the press, I just wanted to mention that RWB Audi's been in the chat saying that he's had a rubbish race, ending with a lost connection. So. Condolences to Audi.
Yeah, very much so, seeing as he's been one of the major hands and the major deliverers of information throughout this whole league. Such a shame. Bad luck to you, Audi. And just to put this into context here, Jake is sitting there just coming out of the pits now. I think he can probably have himself a slush puppy and a hot dog and sit down and watch the traffic go by, dear, for a little while, because he's a lap in front of John Chapman. He's a lap in front of Chapman. Chapman is yet to pit. You know, he's in easy street now, isn't he?
Well,
Speed Demon.
probably want to be keeping an eye on K Cox. That's the nearest guy, I think. So is that where? So he's just coming around La Source now, I think.
Yep.
So we actually want to be seeing where Jake comes out ahead, coming out of the pits now.
Well, let's see. So Jake has now come out, and Kevin Cox is now just coming through Radion into Kemmel, and the Kemmel straight through the trees. So, you know, Jake Moore is now into Lecombe, and Kevin Cox is now into Lecombe. So, you know, you're looking
about
at
5-6 seconds, maybe?
Yeah, about 5-6 seconds. John Chapman is now gone through has gone through the double left and now into down now. Yeah, where is he? Yeah, he's coming into Corporal Frere, isn't he? Yeah, the faster. Yeah, so but he's got to pit yet. So, you know, he's going to be he's going to be a good lap behind, I think.
Yeah, he's going to come out in the midfield somewhere, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to say that John Chapman will probably finish this race around about 6th or 7th. Oh, what happened there? Let's find out. Okay, we've got John Chapman, and behind John Chapman there, we've got and he just gets nudged. He just gets nudged. Now, who was that? That's a back marker. That's a back marker. We didn't see who it was, but a perfect opportunity, John. Get yourself in the pits there. Hopefully not too much time being wasted there. Undoubtedly, John will be having, Chappie will be having words with whoever that was afterwards.
After the race, yep.
Absolutely. That was absolutely no need for that. It certainly wasn't challenging Chapman for the position, and that was a back marker. You know, if you're a back marker in a race and someone is coming up to you, you know they're faster than you because you'll see that big blue thing that appears on the screen. Get out the way, don't challenge them. I'm sure they'll sort it out. If not, then you know, we've got systems in place to address that should we need to. Let's go back to the race.
Is that Scott Free in the pits? It looks like Scott Free just went in as well.
I think that was, yes. I think that was. Okay, so we've got Jake Moore out there at the minute. 17 seconds. Clear. Well, it's saying 17 seconds, but I don't think it is 17 seconds, as we're just seeing Jake into the Camel now. So Jake is into the Camel. Kevin Cox is in second place. It's saying John Chapman is in first place. He's not in first place.
Oh no, that's just because
in first place.
That might be just waiting. Yeah, he's not come over the line yet. There you go. Look, he's come over.
No, that's right. As soon as he comes over the line, there, he's done. So there we go. That is now set properly. So Jake Moore is out there in first place. Wow.
Yeah, he's got quite a hefty lead now. I think he just needs to get his head down and you know, obviously not make any mistakes. We know we can do it. You know, we know he's got the pace. He's got the car. He's obviously, you know, he's been more or less unchallenged for the vast majority of this race now. So I imagine he's feeling pretty calm, pretty collected. He'll be just, you know, keeping focused on his braking markers. Quick glance at the time every now and again just to see how long he's got left. But you know, he'll not be sweating now. He'll be cool, calm, and confident. Speed, no doubt. Yes.
Okay, we've now got a quick time check for you. We've got 14 minutes left of the race, essentially 14 minutes and 10 seconds left of the race. Let's zip through the field through some, as we see Speed Demon now coming up across a back marker. Let's have a quick flick through the field. Sadly, as you heard Hacks mention earlier on, Audi is out of the race, as is James Downs. Oh no, beg your pardon, James Downs is not out of the race. Audi is out of the race. I think he lost connection. TT World is down in 47th. RWB Gabsy is in 44th. RWB Medster in 43rd. Coming out of the pits. I'm sure we'll see a great example here of staying right. But no cars to challenge, and not going to be holding anyone up who's significantly faster along there, so nothing wrong with that. Fabio out there in 39th. Good to see him out there in 39th, but be careful. I think that's Ryan Winch behind you there. I think that's Ryan Winch. Yes, it is Ryan Winch.
We seem to have a fan in the room who would like to see some coverage of Napone, if possible.
Napone, just coming to him, don't worry. Bull is out there, currently in 34th. Napone, 32 in the garishly pink McLaren. Being challenged, it seems, by Khalid Kurata. Or Khalil Kurata. Kurata. Khalil Kurata. Perfectly alongside into the double left. Hopefully keep it clean now, boys. Napone a little bit wide there, but you know, I'd much rather see you go wide than slam into him. ACC, the sort of, you know, the physics behind crash sort of boundaries. What do they call it? Limits of crash limits, is it? What do they call it? Hacks, crash limits.
What do you mean? How it's calculated?
Yeah.
It's like hit boxes, basically, isn't it?
Hit boxes. Thank you. I think that is something that is very much in the community is being questioned. I think you only have to tap slightly, and all of a sudden you'll be off and ruin someone's day. As we see someone on the sand there. Beer in 31st place. John D in 30th. As we saw John just now rejoining the track. Again, you know, good drills from him. He didn't just floor it and hope for the best. You know, he joined the track at an appropriate time when it was safe to do so. Charger in 29th. I know he'll be pleased with that position. Dave Crew in 28th, being in that awful, garishly Lamborghini, but no one can say you can't see him coming. 27th, Justin Madley out there in the Lexus. Toadstool, 26th in the Aston. Flack in the Aston as well, in 25th. We got Scott Free in 22nd in the BM. State of the BM, it's absolutely minging.
Yes.
Chapman, who we said is now rejoined and now is in 18th place. So now he's climbing, but we know he's exceptionally quick. There's no question about that. You know, look, his best lap was 2:21, so that's off the pace. So actually, perhaps I gave him a little bit more credit than perhaps he owns. And so you know, he's currently 18th, and with 10 minutes left, it's fair to assess he'll probably climb a couple of stops, but I don't think he'll be much of a challenge for the front.
Yeah,
FX
17th, not to be sniffed at though.
Oh no! I mean, crikey, yeah. I mean, yeah. Very, very good point, Hacks. I mean, crikey, yeah. I certainly don't mean that detrimentally. I mean, there's 50 cars out there. Let's put this into context. You know, 50 cars. That's some hell of a doing. FX again. I know FX. Now, look. Here's been FX's strategy. I hate to sound like a bloody robot, but he's just kept it clean, fairly good, averagely consistent laps with a sound race strategy, and not been too, you know, not driven it above, say, 95% of his ability, and as a result of that, he's probably going to finish 15th, probably challenge for 14th. So you know, his best lap 2:21.696. That's the good thing about these sorts of races, isn't it, Hacks? Is that when you get a bit of time to put into it, because it's a race, by the time you come towards the end of it, there ain't nothing you don't know about that track.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, considering the amount of time, effort, practice that people put into the sims for the Saturday Night League race, you know, it's no surprise that you know, people come away knowing exactly where the limits are, how to, you know, how much of the inside of the track to cut, how much to extend out, you know, when to push, when not to push. What are the alternate lines coming into a corner as well? Not just what is the fastest line, but if I'm coming up alongside someone, how do I make sure that I stay in lane? How to adjust the amount of braking, how much throttle to adjust as well when you're side by side with people. You know, it really does. It all sort of comes together in a nice, you know, package, as it were. You know, after hours and hours of practice, and there's no doubt that some of these guys will have put in the time. I do want to just say that you know, FX is running a great race. He normally, you know, no detriment to his racing ability, but I think recently his certainly in the DTM league, he struggled a little bit keeping it on the grey stuff, and it's great to see him up in 15th in a field of 50. I'm sure he's going to be absolutely,
He
feeling
will be over the
fantastic
moon.
about that, over the moon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good for you, FX. Through the field then, before we focus on the final few laps with the top runners. Jammer out there in 13th place. Good for Jammer. I think I say good for Jammer. I mean good for him rather than good for him. You know, I mean crikey, he's quick out there. So good to see Jammer out there in the lollipop. Ryan Witch in the Audi, one of our newer members. Currently running in 12th. Isaacs, who we saw earlier on, challenges dad in the Porsche. His fastest being a 220.604. Hunting down his dad, but his dad is way up front there in 7th place. De Vries moves aside there as a back marker, allowing people to go past through Lacombe. Good form, good racecraft. Helmet in the GTR with Rick Binnersley on the outside, parallel going through there. Yes, I'm watching closely, fellas. Come on now, keep it clean. The pair of you, oi, you're racing for position. Let's just go back there, shall we? Let's go back 30 seconds. Let's see exactly what's happening here.
Yeah, they just didn't quite give each other enough room. I think Helmet might have turned in a little bit on Rick as well on the final turn. But
yeah, I think they're both aware, aren't they? They're both aware. They're trying to drive as clean as they can, as close as they can. There's no question that there is some care there. But you only need, a little bit of pushing, a little bit of door scraping. I don't think they'll be having words afterwards. I think they'll probably poke each other in the chest and have a beer and a laugh. But good to see them two having that sort of conscientiously aware battle that they're having. But now, of course, Rick Binnersley, Helmet, has now got Isaacs to contend with, and he's no slouch, is he?
No, Isaacs is, we don't see him racing all that often with RWB. He sort of comes and goes in dribs and drabs. But when he does make a showing, he is, a force to be reckoned with. He's obviously got the power of youth on his side. Pick things up really quickly, fast reaction times. There's no reason why he, given a few years and some more tutorage and mentoring, he couldn't be a force to be reckoned with the likes of potentially, Speed, for example.
Yeah, I absolutely
in 20
agree
years'
with that.
time.
Yep. Rodders, we've been quite quiet with Rodders tonight. Usually he's right up there in the mix, and well, he is. I mean, he's 8th. His fastest been a 220.091. Rodders is our server fellow and former admin. Has done incredible amounts for RWB as a community, and now enjoying the sort of time that he's clawed back as a result of the less admin duties that he does. And that time his clawed back is now put into racing and concentrating on that, and I'm pleased for him. Anybody who's had anything to do with any form of virtual club or organisation will know that if you step up to the line as Rodders has done before, as Helmet has done before, as a lot of people in this club has done before, if you step up the line to help others enjoy that which they love to do, in this case sim racing, then you need to give something up, and what you give up in order to do that is your own racing time. It's a bit of a Hobson's choice. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So I'm pleased for him that he's got some time back, but still a very, very well-known member of RWB. Really enjoying his racing now, and currently running in 8th. So that's great to see him out there.
Well, just a thing of note with Rodders, though, is he's right behind this man, his nemesis, Rigel. So he will be pushing really hard, because we all know that, if Rodders wants to beat anyone, he wants to beat Rigel. So, yeah.
And riding with Rodders now in cockpit, I don't know if we can see Rigel going through Blanchimont with Rodders. There's Rigel, just a couple of cars up in front. Actually, now just going through. There's a hell of a. Sorry for screaming your ear. There's a hell of a problem there. Let's go with the helicam. Let's go on to Rigel. I don't know whether I can go back 30 seconds. Yes, I can. No, I can't. Yes, I can. Let's go back. Yes, okay, so here we are with Rigel now. Rigel is chasing Carlos Balanos through Blanchimont, coming up to the bus stop. Chicane. We've got Balanos there, and Balanos heats a back marker, it seems. And then Balanos is hit, and you saw that hitbox. I mean, it was like someone just chucked a grenade in between the pair of them,
Yeah, they were bouncing
which
off
is
each other
clearly
like
not
tennis.
realistic.
Yeah.
But Rigel manages to stay out of trouble. Rodder's behind Balanos and challenging, coming into La Source. Then we're out of the replay now. Rodders came through that. Rodders is now chasing his nemesis. These two just can't stay away from each other. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that they almost collaborate to make sure that their times and places on track means that they can race each other, because they absolutely love doing so. Riding with Rodders now chasing down his nemesis, and Rigel is Rodders' nemesis, and likewise a righteous infliction of retribution manifested through an appropriate agent. In this case, Rigel, and from Rodders. And from Rigel, it's Rodders, essentially. So
1.5 minutes on the clock then, so we're getting close to race finish.
Crikey, aren't we? Bloody hell's fire. So let's go wide shot now. We need to go wide shot. In fact, no, we don't. Let's get some fast action shots here. Jake Moore then. We've got 1 minute and 10 seconds left of the race, so he's going to end up doing another lap. One more lap to go, essentially. There'll be one more lap to go. He's on his final lap. There is a minute left, and the clock will stop as he's coming up to, as we see Madley there, just moving out of the way. Good news for him. But Speed Demon on his last lap, the clock will stop, and then when everyone crosses the line, that'll be it. Through Eau Rouge, flat out, undoubtedly. Through Radion and the Kemmel. Into Kemmel now. And then out of the trees along to the Kemmel straight. We'll keep a close eye. Kevin Cox in second place. That's how close he is. Coming across Charger now as a back marker. I'm sure Charger will move out of the way.
What place is Charger, do we know?
Charger is currently running down in 27th place.
So, yeah, they've lapped half the field almost.
Yeah, absolutely, which is significant. Charger now in a difficult position because going through Lacombe and down into Bruxelles, there's limited places you can go. So, you know, he's slowing up significantly there, so fair play to Charger. Cox now through Bruxelles. Where's Speed Demon? Speed Demon is on the double left.
Gosh.
He's on the double gauche.
Yeah, miles ahead.
I think miles ahead, and I think unless something drastically happens, this will be a win for Speed Demon in a field of 50 with some amazingly talented people out there. Kevin Cox currently running second, as we said, and Oliver Curtin in third. Curtin now
closely by Bennett.
Very much so. There's a race here with Sean Bennett and Oliver Curtin. These two here now coming up against Nepone, a back marker. So hopefully Nepone moves out of the way. Well done to Nepone. Bit of a slowdown there, but I'd prefer to see you go on the other side, but not a problem.
Yeah, Nepone got a little bit of grass there, pulling over. Not the cleanest get out of the way sort of back marker move, but you know, he's certainly not compounded this race.
No, not at all.
But yeah,
Bennett and Curtin now on the Courbe Paul Frere, the long sweeper around to the right and to the left, which leads into Blanchimont. They've got a bit of a race on, but where's Jake Moore? Crossing the line in first place. Well done, Jake. Second place now through the bus stop is Kevin Cox. In second place. Well done, Kevin. Oliver Curtin there with this bit of a battle with Sean Bennett along through the Freeb, through Blanchimont. These two, Bennett and Curtin, well done. Third and fourth place. Carlos Balanos now crossing in fifth. Rigel in sixth place, holding off Rodders directly behind him in seventh place. Well done, gentlemen. Dan Jordan in eighth place in the Aston. Rick Bennesley in ninth place. What a fantastic position for Rick.
Yeah, he'll be dead chuffed with that, won't he? Absolutely chuffed. Chuffed and over the moon. And Isaac's again.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say Isaac's coming over the line in 10th then. We've got RWB Winchy bringing up the rear in 11th in the Audi. Helmet then, well, one of the favourites to win tonight, coming up in 12th, just getting around cause it was a back marker. Jammer in the yellow lollipop in the GTR coming up in 13th, followed by Pinners, followed by Sean Wright, and then we've got is it Joseph Chapman, was it, or Jamie Chapman?
No, it's John Chapman.
John Chapman. Apologies,
Yep.
John Chapman. He's actually looked in a bit of a battle into the final chicane here with Nate Newcomer. Then Nate looking to get around him coming over the line. Is he going to have the drive in that NSX?
You won't get him down there. But you know what? Fair play for trying. Those two had a little battle. I'm sure they would have enjoyed that. Nate Newcomer in 17th. Scott Free now coming through the bus stop to take 18th behind him. Marcos Mois. And Xavier Eugeni behind him. Mad Owl now through Blanchimont. He will take 21st position. As we saw Xavier Eugeni come across a back marker there. Behind Mad Owl securing 21st place. Flack in 22nd. FX in 23rd. Hacks, my old friend, would you mind identifying the top three and do your prepare for Jake Mox, Kevin Cox and Oliver Curtin for interviews afterwards? I'd be grateful if you could secure them as quickly as you could.
Yeah,
Beer in 24th now, and challenging, it looks like, Dave Crew. In fact, they've now been slowed down, it looks like, yeah, and I think the race has now been called over. So Beer, Dave Crew in 25th, Justin Madley 26th, Charger 27th, Khalid Kurata in 28th, Nepone in 29th, John D in 30th, Bull in 31st, Jody Barraclough 32nd, Pepe Garcia in 33, Fabio in 34, Dan Anderson in 35, Toadstool in 36. Holy moly. Robert DeVries, 37th, Daniel Calvo, 38th, 39th, Francisco Jose Diaz, and 40th, Jonas Bergqvist. 41st, John Hall, 42nd, Medster, Gabsy in 43, Tom Proctor in 44, Greed in Me in 45, James Downs in 46th, Cos in 47th, TTV Race World, Andy San in 48th, and finally in 49th was RWB Audi. Wow, what a race. That was absolutely fantastic. I would have really loved to have been racing in that, but I wanted to commentate more. Absolutely fantastic race. What can we say about the ACC broadcasting system? It's not as friendly as it could be, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think Kunos, you need to, in order to support the community, promote what is your product, you should probably invest a developer or two in making that a bit better. But outside of that, the actual racing side of things, well, I'll say this. Congratulations, gentlemen. That was a fantastic race by all of you. I think there was no pile-ups. There was no major problems with anybody or anything. If there are any incidents that will be reported, then that was the sort of that's why we have incident reporting, etc. But from what we saw there, well, it was it was a good race, wasn't it? All right then. Well, we've now got our first, second, and third place, I do believe, in
we're
the
missing
commentator's
Cox.
box.
We're missing Cox.
Missing Cox, who is in second place. In which case, if he doesn't turn up, we'll pull in Rigel. Kevin Cox. Oh yeah, Token to Freak. Yeah, there he is. Right. So without further ado, I'm now going to hand you over to C Hacks, who will interview first, second, and third positions. Hacks, over to you.
So congratulations, gentlemen. We've got Speed Demon, Jake Moore in first place, followed by Kevin Cox in third. In second, followed by Oliver Curtin in third. I'm going to start with Jake. So Speed Demon, very comfortable win there. Speed. Did you were you feeling comfortable? Were there any nerves as you were cruising around in first place this evening?
Not. The start was a bit nervy. Obviously, 49 people behind you. All it takes is one mistake, and that's pretty much it. You're a bit of brown bread. But we got away pretty well. There was a full course yellow called. We came back around, did this start, and a couple of good laps with I think is it Nakashima behind me, Burnett, giving me some pressure. But once I managed to break the toe, just head down, focus on the road in front of me, and wait for my pit stop.
So yeah, we noticed you pitted fairly late at the 20-minute mark. Were you planning on coming in early or earlier, or was that part of the strategy all along?
That was part of the strategy, was to go as long as possible, give me fresh tyres in case I needed it for the the end of the race. Fresh tyre, low fuel versus someone that pitted on the 30-minute mark. Their tyres would have been lost that 6 laps of qualifying pace you can do on them. They would have been coming towards the end of that, so it would have been, if I had to battle, it would have been a lot more easier with a lot lower fuel load and the fresher tyres versus the person I was battling.
Cool, excellent, nice one. So congratulations on the win, Speed, and I hope you're going to celebrate well tonight. Moving on to Kevin Cox then with second place. Congratulations, Kevin. How did the race go for you?
Yeah, really happy with the result. Wasn't too good with the start. Both starts actually, even after the full course yellow, so I dropped a couple of places. But yeah, I just tried hard really to try to get the positions back after losing the cup. I decided to pit early in the end though, because I was getting held up by the two cars in front, and then did some really fast laps after my pit stop and managed to get myself up into second due to pitting early, I would say, really.
So it was a tactical pit maneuver then to clear the air so that you could lay down the rubber, and get round those guys.
Yeah, so I probably stopped about 5 minutes sooner than I wanted to.
That's fair enough. Well, congratulations on second place, buddy. And is this your first race with RWB? Have you raced with us before?
First league race, yeah. I've done some club racing with you guys before.
Well, yeah, it's great to have you on board, and great to see you up there at the front, pushing the regulars and our newer members, and being competitive. So congratulations on your second place in your first league race. So well done.
Cheers, thank you.
And third place is Oliver Curtin, who doesn't have a microphone, Tiger. So unfortunately, we can't get any words out of him. But I just want to give you the spotlight for third place, Oliver. Congratulations and well done on securing that podium. Over to you, Tiger.
Where's he gone?
Yes, yeah, here I am. Yeah, yes, well done, Oliver. And when you race with us next, zip out there only, less than a packet of mates. Go and get yourself a microphone, for the love of God. We want to talk to you. Listen, I dragged Rigel in because Rigel, I really like you to take stage now to say whatever it is you want after the first race of the ACC League. I've got to be honest, I've just heard about the full course yellow. We didn't see it, but 50 cars out there, incredibly difficult to keep a situational awareness of what's happening where. Essentially, when the cars are extended out, there's half of the circuit that you're looking at there. So talk to us about that, please, at the beginning. What happened?
Yeah, well, I've just had a chat with some of the guys, and Audi said, I think Audi called it, but in the end he said he probably wasn't worth calling. He got shunted up in Eau Rouge, and he wasn't sure how many cars were behind him. I heard one of the admins call it, so I just repeated it loudly, and everybody responded absolutely brilliantly. I don't think there was any prangs. Everybody listened to what they were told, and further to that, the restart went seamlessly too. I think the little bit of practice we did helped, but there were some people that were in this race who didn't get the practice, and all credit to them for responding. I think
Wonderful.
it went sparklingly well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a perfect segue, mate. Wherever I can get that word in, because it drives Charger insane. It's like scratching your nails on a blackboard to him when you say that word. But your general thoughts for the first race? I know this has been, all credit to Gabsy. Gabsy has arranged this, and I said in the stream that because this was our first one and we were showcasing it, and we've very much opened it up to the community. And we wanted to have great races like this with some great talent, and 50 people out there. Plus of course myself and Hacks commentating. 52 people coming together from all over the world for one race, really quite something. So and you and Audi and FX and Speed and Charger have all put a great deal of time in the background with the organisation and arrangements, etc. Is there anything you'd like to say to anybody that will watch this back, or anyone who's still listening on YouTube about the first race?
Well, you've kind of covered it anyway. There's by describing really how much effort from so many people has gone into this. I think Gabsy and was it Flack who came up with the original idea and created it, and everybody has had a good input into it since. And I think it shows in the result of the race, the great racing and the trouble-free racing, that effort has been rewarded. So I think everybody deserves a pat on the back and a congratulations. Well done, everybody. Your efforts haven't gone wasted at all. And the same to all the drivers. You've all listened to what you've been told. You've all behaved. Nobody's been particularly stupid, at least not that I know of yet. But no, well done, everybody.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Rigel, and the rest of the admins, the amount of time that you've put into this, and of course Gabsy and Flack, and of course to all you who have joined us for this race. Make sure you come back and join us for round 2, which is at Kyalami, which you either love or hate. Actually, you either know or don't. And that's round 2. Then round 3 is at Hungaroring, round 4 Silverstone, round 5 Misano. So we've got some great races. It starts now. It started. We've crossed the line. We've got 50 now. Let's make sure that you carry on the fight, and try and climb up the ladder there. See how you do in the league. And if you're watching this, as a lot of people have watched tonight and said, how do I get into this league, etc. Well, rwbracing.club. Zip along. You'll find all the information there. Come into RWB, poke any one of us, and anybody in RWB will always point you in the right direction. I absolutely promise you that. Well done to Speed, my friend Speed. Well done, Kev. Well done. And well done to you, Oliver. And Rigel, very well done to you. Well, the final thing I'm going to say, as I said at the very beginning there, Antoine Hubert died in 2019 up at Radion there. So, to his family, and of course to your family and everyone else out there, stay safe in the current climate. So until next time, then next week, you know what we say, don't race alone, race RWB. Take care.